change of venue. I'm in my car, it's raining, and I thought I would review the next Christie book from here. I'm actually reading a couple of them, but I'll just review one for now. It's Hercule Poirot's Christmas, and it's not snowing outside, but it's raining. So kind of I'm a little bit at odds with the season of the book, but nevertheless, it's a really fun read. Now, Hercule Poirot's Christmas is really a lot of fun because it begins first with a letter that Agatha writes to her brother-in-law, James, and it reads, "My dear James, you have always been one of the most faithful and kindly of my readers, and I was therefore seriously perturbed when I received from you a word of criticism. You complained that my murders were getting too refined, anemic in fact. You yearned for a good violent murder with lots of blood, a murder where there was no doubt about its being murder. So this is your special story written for you. I hope it may please. Your affectionate sister-in-law, Agatha." This is also an interesting Christie because she begins with an epigraph, something she'll do more and more in her novels. This one comes from a bloody play of Shakespeare's Macbeth, and the quote goes, "Yet who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood in him?" And this quote is used by one of the characters when the body of Mr. Lee is found. Simeon Lee is our murder victim for this story, and his children have all gathered around him for Christmas. He's rather like Mrs. Boynton in that he enjoys domineering his children. He gets a little bit more pleasure in kind of tempting them with the idea of their inheriting his money, but also threatening to cut them out of his will. So he's not the sadist that Mrs. Boynton is, but he is a rather unsavory character who's had a lot of love affairs, who's been involved in almost every vice possible, has had children on both sides of the sheets, and this story has a lot to do with family. Now, when we talk about family, a lot of it has to do with family resemblance. We have characters who look like other characters, characters who confuse the butler because they look so much alike and so much like the father. We have, almost like in a Shakespearean comedy, actually, we've got people pretending to be other people, people who say they're one thing but are another, people who are related and we don't know what that relationship is at first. And this is a story with Poirot in it, and of course, because of the title, and it comes down to investigate the murder, and he spends a lot of time with the family, getting to know them and trying to understand. It's pretty conventional for a Poirot novel. Now, usually Poirot is kind of singled out as the foreigner in the novels where that take place in England, because he stands out and he plays up his foreignness in such a way that it disarms people a little bit, and they don't quite know how to take him. So sometimes he'll pretend that he doesn't speak the language quite as well. In this case, we have another foreigner, a young woman by the name of Pilar Estrevados, and she is the granddaughter of Simeon Lee, and she's coming home for Christmas from Spain, where her friend has just been killed by the bombing because there's war in Spain at the time, and she adds an interesting note of exotic sexuality, I would say, to this novel that it doesn't come up very often in other novels by Christie. She enjoys flirting even with her grandfather because she knows that he likes the look of a pretty woman and nice legs, and she wants to get some money out of him, and so she's quite unashamed of that, of doing this to get the money. When she almost becomes murder victim number 2, the game changes a little bit for her. This is an interesting novel for Christie about identity and about families. It's kind of a growing theme of hers with the domineering parents and how that plays out with the children. Her later novels are going to explore this kind of maybe a moral or spiritual inheritance in addition to just monetary inheritances. But it's still not among my favorite. I would give it a maybe 3.75 stars. It's definitely a good read around the holiday time.